Good morning, sir.
Very good morning. So, good morning to all. So, we were discussing about the shear strength theory. So, in the last class, we tried to understand a bit about different axial tests. So, like UCS, UU, CU, CD, so on and so forth. So, today we will try to little deepen our further knowledge so on the same triaxial testing. So one of the important aspects so that you did not attempt during your undergraduate program is so what will happen to the total stress or the pore water pressure or the effective stress when you literally conduct a CU test or CD test or UU test. So for a better understanding, I have taken different conditions which normally we arise when you conduct a test or otherwise in the practical situation. So try to note down. So now I try to distinguish initially between CD test and the CU test. So because of the lack of space, I couldn't able to write down the UU test. Anyhow, that part we will discuss. So after we will discuss about the CD test and CU test. Now I don't need to give the fundamental explanation about what is CU test and CD test. So everybody well aware of it. So let us take the CD test, that is consolidated drain test. Now here there are two phases. The phase 1 or the stage 1 is the consolidation, while the phase 2 or the stage 2 is the shearing stage. While when you talk about the CD test, during both the stage 1 and stage 2, the valve of the triaxial test is open so that there was no development of the excess pore water pressure within the soil sample. Now, the same thing, if you represent in terms of the equations or in terms of the stresses, so then how do you write the equivalence of the stresses in terms of the total and in terms of the effect? So here there are three columns which were given corresponding to 3 or 4 different stages, like stage 1 at the end of the consolidation. So we try to understand in the previous class why the stage 1, that is the end of the consolidation, is so important and so critical. The second stage during the axial stress increase, that means post consolidation. Now what we do, we increase only the axial stress, but by keeping the confining stress remained unchanged. Then in that condition, what would happen to the principal stresses like sigma V dash or sigma H dash or sigma 1 or sigma 3. And similarly, at the failure condition where the sample is about to fail. So first let us take the condition of at the end of the consolidation. Now, one thing that we know is in CD test, as the drainage valve is open, since the valve is open, so it facilitates expulsion of the water from the soil sample. Whatever is the water which were held within the pores, that gets evacuated or gets dispelled out because of application of either confining pressure or confining together with the axial stress. So initially we are talking about the consolidation, so therefore we apply uniform the cell pressure. So the cell pressure is remained same in the horizontal direction as well as in the vertical direction. So therefore we can denote this as sigma Hc, the cell pressure in the horizontal direction, sigma Vc, the cell pressure in the vertical direction. Since the valve is open, the moment you apply the confining pressure on the soil sample, so it tries to expel out the water sample or water from the sample. So therefore, water cannot able to take any component of the stress. So therefore, the pressure on the water component is 0. The pressure on the water component is 0. So now, so the very first column designates the stresses in total stress form, total, while the middle represents that of the neutral stress or the excess pore water pressure, while the last one represents that of the effective stress. So if you want to write if you want to write the stresses in the form of effective stress, so as the pore water pressure is 0, so your total will become effective. The total will become effective. That is at the end of the consolidation. At the end of the consolidation. Now, having understood so the stage 1, now what we do, we ensure that the soil sample has got consolidated to the desired degree. Then what the next step is, increase the axial load only, keeping the cell pressure constant. Keeping cell pressure constant, try to increase the deviated stress or the delta sigma. Since during the axial stress also, as the valve is open, as the drainage valve is open, and this opening facilitates dissipation of the excess pore water pressure, so therefore there is no accumulation of the pore water pressure within the soil sample. The moment you apply the load, as the load is applied, so does the dissipation of the pore water pressure. So therefore the U component becomes 0 as the valve is open. Since the U component is 0, as we know, sigma dash is equal to sigma minus U. Sigma dash is equal to sigma minus U. Effective stress is equal to total minus pore water pressure. So here if you write the stresses in the form of effective stress, sigma h dash is equals to sigma h, that is since U is 0, so the total becomes the effective stress. Here in the case of the axial stress at the stage 2 as well. And sigma V dash now will become sigma Vc plus delta sigma, that is increased axial stress. So these are the total and effective stresses during the axial stress increase. Now the third condition, so you have increased the axial stress until such an extent where the sample has reached to the failure state. That is called as at failure. So here, so the stresses are represented so in the form of a sigma or delta sigma f. Now if you look at the state of the sample at failure, again, so as we know from the fundamental definition of the CD test, the drainage valve is opened during the consolidation and during the shearing. So therefore the confining pressure has remains same, and as we are increasing the axial stress until the failure of the soil sample, so your delta sigma will now become delta sigma f. Since the valve is open, there was no development of the pore water pressure, therefore U becomes 0. Now if you are asked to write the stresses in the form of effective stress, so therefore sigma dash hc is nothing but sigma hc. The total is nothing but effective in the lateral direction. While in the axial direction, so sigma dash vc is equal to sigma vc plus delta sigma f. That is the axial stress at failure. And the summation of sigma vc total plus increase in the axial stress can be written as the major principal stress in the vertical direction. So this is how the stress variation will happen. So when you conduct any CD test. So now from here, if you want to write in terms of the principal stresses, so sigma 3 is equal to sigma hc, and sigma 1 is equals to sigma vc plus delta sigma, and the difference of sigma 1 minus sigma 3 is normally designated as the deviated stress. So this is a small summary about the consolidated drain test. But although so it looks like very simple, but carrying out one CD test will take immense amount of time, because so it requires large time to consolidate the soil sample, and since you are conducting all these triaxial tests on the clayey soil samples, just imagine on the clayey soil samples where the permeability of the clayey soil samples is so low in the order of 10 power minus 6. So the dissipation of the pore water pressure occurs so slow. So therefore, the application of the rate of loading also shall be so slow. So it takes days and days of a time to conduct one simple test. One simple test. Why? At the same time, you also need to make a comparative or what do you call equivalence between the dissipation, the rate of dissipation of the pore water pressure and the rate of application of the load. So there should be a equalization between these two. Now we can understand. Suppose if the rate of application of the load is more than the rate of dissipation of the excess pore water pressure, then there is a possibility of the development of the excess pore water pressure. So that is not anticipated in case of the CD test. You must give sufficient time where the U component will become zero. Because that is the condition of the CD test. That is the condition of the CD test. Which otherwise your U will not be zero. Rather it will be some positive or negative value. But that is not acceptable in case of the CD test. So therefore your loading condition shall be so slow. So slow. Now I hope it is clear to you. So how the CD test will be conducted and how the stresses will be computed in case of the CD test. So we will discuss further about the CD test. So if you have any question, you are most welcome to ask me. Any question?
Sir, can you repeat when the excess pore water pressure will be produced?
When your question is when excess pore water pressure will be produced?
Yes, sir.
That I will explain. Okay. So since you are asking, now let us go to another kind of a triaxial testing, that is CU test. So normally we designate as CU test, but which otherwise consolidated undrained triaxial testing. So again, if you look at the very fundamental meaning of the CU test, there are two stages: consolidation stage as well as the C-range stage. So during the stage one, that is consolidation, or we can say at the end of the consolidation, or at the end of the construction or the consolidation. At the end of the consolidation, so the valve is open, and the consolidation is achieved by applying uniform confining pressure, so both in the lateral direction as well as in the vertical direction. So as the valve is open, as we apply the confining pressure, so it initially tries to develop the excess pore water pressure, but since the drainage valve is open, so since water cannot able to take any load, so it tries to expel out from the soil sample. So ultimately, at the end of the construction or at the end of the consolidation, the total pore water pressure becomes zero. Okay, so now if you write the stresses in the form of effective stress, so since the pore water pressure is zero, so total stress will now become equivalent to that of effective stress. Okay, now this is stage one. Now let us go to the stage two, that is the application of the axial stress to shear the soil sample. So up to this point, the soil is completely got consolidated up to the desired degree or up to the degree which you want, whatever it is. Now in the second stage, so we will keep the confining pressure constant. However, we will increase the axial stress, that is delta sigma. But in this stage, so we close the valve. The valve is no more open. We close the valve. Now just imagine, when you are applying the delta sigma, as water will not be expelled out from the soil sample, now you can anticipate load sharing between the soil and the water molecules. As a result, there is a development of the pore water pressure. As a result of the load sharing between the soil and the water component, so there is development of excess pore water pressure, which is represented in the form of a delta U. which is represented in the form of a delta U. However, the development of the excess pore water pressure could be negative or could be positive. So accordingly, it is called as a positive pore water pressure or negative pore water pressure. Both the things can happen. Okay. So therefore, it is simply represented as plus or minus delta U. Plus or minus delta U. Now, since there is a development of the pore water pressure during the application of the axial stress as the valve is closed, now if you are asked to write the stresses in the form of a total or the effective, now you can understand the total stress in the lateral direction will now become delta HC, delta sigma dash HC is equal to delta HC, that is total, plus or minus delta U, either positive pore water pressure or negative pore water pressure. So plus or minus delta U. Now similarly, the stress, effective stress in the vertical direction is nothing but sigma VC, that is initially applied confining stress to consolidate the soil sample, followed by increment in axial stress, plus or minus the development of the pore water pressure as a result of the increment of the delta sigma. So I hope it is clear to you everyone now. Okay. Now the last is at failure, where you kept on increased the delta sigma until the sample has achieved to a state of the failure, where at that condition the axial stress shall be represented in the form of a delta sigma F. So here also the final pore water pressure that is developed can be represented as delta UF. So accordingly. So now if you want to write the form of the stresses in effective stress form, so in the lateral direction, sigma HC dash is equal to sigma HC plus or minus delta UF. Similarly, sigma dash BC is equals to sigma BC plus the applied axial stress plus or minus the final pore water pressure. So this is how the total and effective stresses will develop when you conduct CD test or when you conduct the CU test. So if both the methodologies are clear to you all, then I can go for explaining about the UU test.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, where it is negative for water pressure?
Where it is negative.
Yes, sir.
Maybe I will explain it when I will be explaining about the UU test.
Okay, sir.
So any other question? Okay, so then I'm just wrapping up this one. So now let us discuss about the third kind of a test. So concerning the triaxial testing is unconsolidated undrained test. Now in this test, the valve is closed from the beginning of the test till the sample fails, so that everybody well aware of. Now in this test, first let us try to understand. So initially, I am taking the soil sample. Say So this is the natural ground. So natural ground. So a sample has been collected. Just imagine. So this is depth jet. Depth jet. Okay. So initially, I want to collect a soil sample from a depth of jet. Now, if you draw the free body diagram of this soil sample, so this soil sample, so as you know that this sample is initially subjecting to the lateral stress, that is sigma h, and the vertical stress, that is sigma v. That is sigma v. Now, what I have done in the next step, I brought this sample to the laboratory. I brought this sample to the laboratory. Now, if you ask to draw the free body diagram of this sample, so what is the value of sigma h and sigma v?
In the laboratory, in the no stress condition, it is 0.
Okay. So what will happen to the sigma h and sigma v? Others, any opinion? So a sample has been grabbed from a depth of jet of the original ground and it brought to the laboratory. So now what will happen to the sigma v and sigma h?
Sir, sigma h will be the earth pressure at rest, K naught sigma v.
Okay.
Sir, if it is placed in triaxial test, then sigma h will be cell pressure and sigma b will be 0.
No, we have not gone to that extent. We simply grabbed the soil sample to the laboratory. So it is not subjected to any testing right now. Just imagine you have simply collected the soil sample, that's it.
So, sir, it will not be exerted any pressure.
So you can say sigma h is 0 and sigma v is 0. Is it all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, obviously, when you grab the soil sample from the ground and if you bring it to the laboratory, the moment you take it, it will not be subjected to any sigma h or sigma v. Both the stresses are 0. It is obvious. You don't need to think of much. Okay, so it is easy to understand. But however, just think of yourself. Initially, the sample was subjected to sigma h and sigma v. Sigma h and sigma v. Still, after the sample has been extracted from the ground, say it is cored out, a core has been taken, still it could able to maintain its geometry. Why? How it could able to maintain the geometry in absence of the sigma h and sigma v?
Because there is no volumetric strain happening due to unconsolidation.
Yeah, obviously. So sigma v is 0, sigma h is 0. When both are 0, there is no consolidation. And the sample is just kept on the table. So we cannot able to talk about all these volumetric stresses and so on and so forth. It is
Or interparticle forces.
the interparticle forces.
Yes, sir, as you said, na. Cohesion.
Interparticle forces. Okay. Can anyone able to a little bit elaborate this one? Okay, I will ask a simple question. Now I will take two variety of samples. One is clay and another is sand. I have taken clay sample separately, sand sample separately. Now, can we able to correlate the ultimate effect or the impact of these interparticle forces? Can they exist first of all?
In sand, sir, it will be less. I mean, if we take the sample out from the core cutter or the what is it, dolly, then it will fall. but in clay it will be in shape.
Okay. So in case of the clay, there is a possibility of little bit, but in case of the sand, it is very small.
Sir, your voice is lagging, sir.
Oh, my voice is breaking. Okay, I will pause for a minute. Okay. So now, so you are saying that, so because of the interparticle forces, this sample would able to withstand its geometry. But so just to enrich this idea, so the sample able to withstand its geometry, especially whether it is a clay or sand. So for easy understanding, what I will do is I will take the sand sample. If I take pure dry sand, can I able to make any sample with a particular geometry?
No, sir.
No, because there is no interparticle forces. That means you need to introduce another agent into the soil sample. That agent is, say, in the form of a moisture. Now suppose if you add a little bit amount of a water to the sand, so this moisture increases some kind of the, say, in the form of a capillary, or in the form of a surface tension, whatever you think of. So because of this capillary action or the surface tension action, you can able to make a small heap of the sand sample. But you cannot able to exactly replicate the triaxial soil sample even by adding the moisture content, which is practically impossible unless otherwise it may be some over consolidated sand or something. But if you take loose pulverized sand, even by adding small amount of the moisture, so though there is a dominance of the capillary or surface tension action, probably you might not be able to make a triaxial soil sample. But you can make some soil sample where it could able to withstand its minimum geometry, if not to the full extent. While in case of the clay, it is completely different. So in the presence of the moisture, so this sample can be compacted. While this compaction induces some kind of the pore water pressure, that is called as a negative pore water pressure. And this negative pore water pressure is the responsible for this negative pore water pressure minus UR is the responsible for maintaining geometry of the soil sample in the absence of the sigma H and sigma V. So is it clear to everyone now?
So can you repeat?
Okay. So just you take a clay soil sample. So then you add a little bit of the moisture. Then you try to compact the soil sample. So the compaction induces some kind of the negative pore water pressure within the soil sample. Because the load applied is not externally, not on the external geometry. For example, if you take this sample, suppose say if the load is applied on top surface, then it is different. Because this stress is borne by all particles. Okay, but when you do the compaction, you do the internal compaction, or the stress is applied at the internal level. So that is within the soil sample. So this compaction induces the internal stresses or retains its geometry by increasing the negative pore water pressure. But you cannot say that there was no moisture available, because moisture available, then only you can able to compact the soil sample. So in a nutshell, if you take any clay soil sample or clay with the sand or whatever the combination of the soil sample that you could able to compact, they will maintain such geometry of the soil sample because of the development of the negative pore water pressure. So is it okay, Benazira? So your question is answered now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, negative pore water pressure. Now, how the negative will be converted into positive? First of all, is it possible to convert the negative pore water pressure into positive?
By exerting cell pressure, sir.
Yes. By applying the either cell pressure or axial stress. You increase the sigma V or the sigma H. This initially tries to compensate the negative pore water pressure, and the moment you are increasing the cell pressure or the axial stress to a magnitude which is more than the negative pore water pressure, then it will be turned from negative to the positive pore water pressure. So that we will try to see. So is this part is clear now? Okay. So now let us come to the UU testing. What would be the conditions? So UU at the end of the construction. At the end of the construction. So now the drainage valve is no more open. No more open. So then what will happen to the neutral stress here? What will happen to the neutral stress? Initially I am taking, okay, so immediately after sampling. So the first is immediately after sampling. So that I explain here. Now suppose if you draw this stress, sigma V dash is equals to sigma V minus of minus UR. So then this will become, so sigma V plus UR. Or suppose if this is 0, if this is 0, so then sigma V dash is equals to UR. If sigma V is 0. Similarly, so sigma H dash is equals to negative pore water.
Sir,
Positive pore water. Yeah.
sir, where you are writing, sir, at that place, lighting is there.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay. So now let us take for UU condition. So the sample has been brought to the laboratory. Okay, and there the sample is withstood. So because of the negative pore water pressure. Now suppose if I ask to determine or draw the stresses in the form of the effective sigma V dash and sigma H dash. So then how do you write it? So this is sigma V minus of UR. Minus of UR. But in the laboratory condition, so sigma V is 0 and this will become UR. So therefore, so the total effective stress is nothing but the total pore water pressure that exists. Similarly, so sigma H dash, so at the laboratory condition is, so 0 plus UR, that is UR. Okay, so now you could able to understand. So whatever you are saying, the interparticle forces and the development of the negative or positive pore water pressure, how they able to withstand the soils. So this is what happens.
Sir, what is suffix R? What is suffix R, sir?
Pore water pressure.
Residue, that is.
Or just to distinguish between the other parameter, that's it. If you are getting confused, then you remove it. Instead of giving another definition, you can simply say U. Okay. So once this part is clear, when the soil sample is on your table, this is how the total stress conditions, and this is how the effective stress conditions, and this is how the pore water pressure conditions shall prevail on the soil sample. Now next, go to the end of the consolidation. End of the consolidation. So here the drainage valve is closed. You have applied a uniform cell pressure for consolidating the soil sample. then what will happen to the neutral stress? The pore water pressure. Will it be 0 or will it be some value?
Maximum, sir.
Maximum. So this you can write it as so minus UR. Okay, so initially minus UR plus
You're not audible, I think. Hello?
is it okay now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry, I got unmute. That's muted. Okay. Now, at the end of the consolidation, so initial state is negative pore water pressure, negative pore pressure. Now, on this negative pore water pressure, you are applying the confining pressure, So, it will be turned from negative to positive. But it is summation. It will be summation. So, initially it is negative pore water pressure. And as a result of the application of the confining pressure, it will be positive pore water pressure. So therefore, the summation is neutral, that is minus UR plus delta UC. C designates cell the pore water pressure, so as a result of the application of the cell pressure. Okay, so now suppose if you write sigma HC dash, so how do you write it now? Can you write?
Plus delta plus UR minus delta UC.
So sigma HC
Plus UR
plus UR minus
delta UC.
So delta UC. Okay. And I think same is so in the case of sigma VC, sigma dash VC. So sigma VC. So plus UR minus delta UC. Minus delta UC. Is it okay? Is it clear to everyone? Okay, but this can also be written in another form. Just this is the initial stress, and as you know, at certain point of time, so your delta UC will be equivalent to so sigma C alone. Just imagine when the sample is fully saturated. So at that condition, it can be written as delta simply sigma C, either in the vertical direction or horizontal direction. Your delta UC, that means the increase in pore water pressure, will be equivalent to applied confining pressure. So in that condition, so your sigma VC dash is equals to sigma HT dash is equals to, it is sigma C plus UR minus, so sigma C. Minus sigma C. So these two will get cancelled out. So in that condition, so sigma V dash and sigma HT dash will become, so the net pore water pressure. Okay. So that is the condition of the soil sample.
Can you please repeat this one, sir? I didn't get it actually.
See, just imagine. So up to minus UR is the initial state of the soil sample.
Yes.
Now, after that, what you will do? You will saturate.
Exactly.
Just imagine that you have fully achieved the saturation.
Okay.
Okay. Now, once the sample is saturated, now you are consolidating the soil sample.
Sir, this is no, sir.
Pardon me?
This is unconsolidated test, no, sir.
This is unconsolidated. No,
Then why we?
No, it is unconsolidated only, but you are applying the confining pressure, but you are not opening the valve.
Okay, then excess pore water pressure will develop.
Yes, suppose if you are opening the valve, no such condition arises. Everything is zero.
Yes, yes. I got confused. Actually, you said that for we are consolidating. That's why. And
No,
it is
see, you also, there are two stages. There is consolidation stage, there is a searing stage, but unfortunately both are clubbed.
yes.
So as we don't distinguish between this one, so initially you are applying the confining pressure. Just imagine when you do the any UU test, you will not directly apply the delta sigma. You will initially apply the confining pressure. Thereafter, that you are going for the shearing load.
Yes, but sir, the consolidation is not. The consolidation doesn't happen in this case, no?
No, it will not happen.
Confining pressure will be given, but consolidation will not be having because the valve is closed.
That is true. That's what I mean to say. So in this case, you are not consolidating the soil sample, and it is also not possible because the drainage valve is closed. But you can apply the confining pressure on the soil sample. There is no hindrance for the application of the sigma C.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But when you apply the sigma C, as there is no hindrance, so that applied load will be borne by only the water. So therefore, we will write that under fully saturated condition, the applied sigma C will be equivalent to the delta UC. Delta UC. So if you rewrite all the equations, then the effective stress, so with the application of the confining pressure, will be equivalent to the positive pore water pressure. Initially at the laboratory condition, it is the negative pore water pressure. But after application of the cell pressure, now it is turned from negative to the positive. So you have to understand there is a change in the pore water pressure, and there is a change in the state of the stress also. So those are the critical, and this is a little complexity.
So, sir,
yeah.
So sigma C will be equal to sigma Fc, no, sir. Why sigma Vc?
You can write sigma HC. There is no harm. Just to avoid the confusion, I have simply drawn because here sigma HC is equals to sigma Vc now. These are not
Confining
different.
stress, it is hydrostatic pressure, I think. Yeah.
It is hydrostatic pressure. Yeah. Okay. It is hydrostatic pressure. Then if you are getting confused, shall I delete these things? Now is it okay? Okay. So I have deleted. Now at least you can make a sense, some sense. Okay. Now let us come to the increase in axial stress condition. Because stage 1 is over, you have initially applied the confining pressure. As a result, there was an increase in the pore water pressure, so which you have equated to the delta sigma. Now once this is done, the next stage is you need to shear the soil sample. By increasing yeah.
Means, sir, at the end of the construction or consolidation, effective stress in both the direction will be equal to the pore water pressure.
Obviously, that's what is the meaning of this one.
Okay, sir.
Okay, maybe let me take another example. See, you just take a balloon. Okay, you take a balloon, fill with the water. Initially, you don't apply any stress at any part of the balloon. So it has its own geometry. Okay, it retains its particular geometry. Now on the same balloon which is filled with the water, if we apply the axial load, who is going to take this load? Who will bear this load?
Water.
Only water. Okay, so here, suppose if the sample is fully saturated, so you are imagining the other, so the entire load will be borne by only the water. So I like the balloon condition, but there is a volumetric deformation. There is a volumetric deformation that happens. Volumetric, but the initial volume and the changed volume both are same, because no water is allowed to expel out. No water is allowed to expel out. So, like in the case of a balloon, so where when you are applying the axial load, it deforms, but the entire load is borne by the water itself. The same thing happens here. So the meaning of this one is, so the whatever the pressure which is applied, the pore water pressure is nothing but your effective stress.
Sir, in UU test, every time sample will be saturated form because it is confined with water.
In triaxial, that is a must condition. All triaxial tests shall be conducted only on the fully saturated soil sample. If you refer to any book, they specifically highlight about this point. You must fully saturate the soil sample.
Sir, what happens when sample is dry from in actual field?
That I will discuss. That part I will discuss. So first, if you understand all these fundamentals, that part I will discuss. So those things will come in the later stage. Okay, so this is the first stage. Now in the second stage, where you are applying the axial stress, the pore water pressure can be written in this form. So minus UR plus delta sigma. So this is as a result of the application of the confining pressure. Now what will happen to the pore water pressure as a result of the application of the delta sigma? So that can be written as plus or minus delta U. Plus or minus delta U. Is it okay? The initial first two terms are derived from the stage 1, while as a result of the delta sigma application, there is an additional generation of the excess pore water pressure, which is designated as delta U. Delta U. Okay. Now we can able to rewrite what will happen to the effective stress in the vertical direction and effective stress in the horizontal direction. So try to rewrite the equations. So it will become, so UR plus or minus delta U, and this also will become UR plus or minus delta U. Similarly at failure also. So similarly at failure condition.
So plus delta sigma above.
Plus delta sigma. So here, sorry. So plus delta sigma. So here also, this is minus UR plus delta sigma C plus or minus the final pore water pressure developed. So your sigma Vc dash is nothing but UR plus or minus delta UF plus delta sigma, and sigma C dash is nothing but UR plus or minus delta UF.
Sir, minus and plus, sir.
Okay, minus and plus. That is true. Minus and plus.
Isn't plus minus delta U a component of the delta sigma?
No,
I mean,
no.
when we are producing the axial stress, then some part is taken by the water. That's why the pore water pressure develops. No?
No, no, here you have to understand. The valve is closed in all the cases. The valve is closed. As long as the valve is closed, there is no such sharing. Or in this case, it might happen.
Okay, sir.
Now, what is the important takeout? So, from derivation of all these equations, if you look at any stage of the total of the effective stresses, so it indicates that so all these effective stresses are independent of the applied cell pressure. Nowhere you see that there is a sigma C. So that means, so this indicates that when you conduct any UU test on a fully saturated soil sample, you will get only one Mohr circle. So you will get only one Mohr circle, say whether it is total or effective. Sigma 3 or sigma 3 dash, sigma 1 dash or sigma 1. And what you will get is only the cohesion component, that is Cu. C2. Okay. So here the angle of internal friction is 0. Now, as you were asking, what will happen if I conduct UU test on soil samples which are not fully saturated? So in that case, so you can draw the Mohr circle something like this. So I can So this is the best way of understanding what is the effect of the degree of saturation on the shear strength parameters. Suppose if you are ensuring that the soil sample is fully saturated with degree of saturation of 100%, what we get is only the Cu component. So Cu is not equals to 0, but phi u is 0. Phi u is 0. But if it is the sample with the degree of saturation of less than 100%, then probably you might be getting both Cu value, so is not equals to 0, and phi u value which is not equals to 0. So this is why, so when you do any UU test result where it is normally conducted corresponding to 3 cell pressures. So you always see the values of the Cu and Pu. So the basic reason is the samples are not fully saturated. Okay, so the tests are conducted on the soil samples which have been derived as it is from the field condition. But if you saturate the sample fully, irrespective of the field condition, we will only get one Mohr circuit corresponding to both effective or total. A total and effective, you will get only single Mohr circuit. Single Mohr circuit.
So one last thing.
Yeah.
So in the UU test, in the first stage, the increasing the pore water pressure was equal to the increase in confining pressure.
Yeah.
Is the same true in the second stage also? Like when you when you increase the Dievetrich stress here also you can.
No. See, when you apply the confining pressure, you will apply single load instantaneously. You will not take any time. But when you apply the axial load, it is a little time bound.
Sir, when we apply deviator stress, it will not affect any cell pressure.
No, it will not affect any cell pressure. If this will affect the cell pressure, so then that becomes a different condition. See, that's why we write, when we write the axial stress, which is nothing but cell pressure plus delta sigma.
Can you repeat it what you said? Time bound?
What he was asking is, when I apply the delta sigma, will there be any effect on the delta sigma C? No. The sample is already subjected to the delta sigma C. On top of it, you are applying the delta sigma.
And sir, in triaxial test, we make constant cell pressure.
Yeah, you make the constant cell pressure. Correct. Only delta sigma is a variable. But you will conduct the test for different cell pressure values. For example, 50, 100, 150 kilopascal, so on and so on. Okay, so I will stop it here.